The Bogdana Corporation is proud to present Let's Talk About Health with your host, Robert Anderson. He'll talk about all aspects of health, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Now here's your host, Robert Anderson.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Let's Talk About Health. We'll be hearing from Mary in a little while. Mary had a lot of problems with her liver, by the way, and she had a very severe liver disease, and I think you'll find it fascinating as to what the results were when she took our Bogdana nutritional formula. We always like to begin with our thought for the day, and our thought today was actually given to us by Mary. She has a quote that's one of her favorite quotes, and I quote as follows: "The pursuit of goodness leads into many paths, and sometimes into a thicket. Sometimes it may indeed seem like a unicorn or a holy grail, but goodness is real. Some things are better than others, and it is better to go up than down on the goodness mountain. And if we abandon the search for the way up, we will be abandoning the potential for which we came into being." And Mary got that quote from Kenneth Boulding. And that thought is really in sync with Scripture also, because in Scripture it says that man was created in the image and likeness of God. So if you believe in Scripture and you have faith in Scripture, then if man was created in the image and likeness in God, everything else that has occurred to man must be a corruption of the reality of that truth. So let's not focus on the corruption. Let's focus on getting back on track to the reality of God's intentions as to what His purpose was in creating us. So, we also like to do a update on health and nutrition, just a comment on health. And so many of you out there who hear about the Bogdana nutritional formula, you understand by this time that there are properties within the Bogdana nutritional formula, natural components within the Bogdana nutritional formula. It's a liquid formula. And that those components stimulate the cleansing system within our body to come back to excellent working order. And maybe you'd like to know a little bit more about that. And actually, so many people misunderstand detoxification. So many of you are going to clinics to be detoxified. You're aware of the importance of getting toxins out of the body, and you're convinced that toxins in some very significant way to contribute to dangerous diseases that mankind is suffering from. But so many of you are not knowledgeable about the fact that we have a cleansing ability within our body, and the most profound cleansing ability comes from within the human body, not from a product, or not from juicing, as so many of you do, where you take things that cause a reaction in the body. It's a different type of detoxification. Of course, you can detoxify to some extent with garlic, or by juicing, or going to a clinic, or even water can contribute to detoxification. But there's no more profound detoxification or cleansing than the cleansing and detoxification that the body is capable of performing within its own being. The problem is that we're getting so many toxins into our body today that the cleansing system breaks down, and according to Science News magazine and other reports that I've read, we're getting approximately 100 to 150,000 man-made chemicals into our body every couple of months. And God didn't create us to cope with this bizarre number of chemicals that are making entry into our body. And so the cleansing system breaks down. And what occurs when we take Bogdana is that the energy in the formula and other components within the formula stimulate our cleansing system to come back to excellent working order. And that's why, for the first 2 months, on the average, people who take Bogdana go through a cleansing or a detoxification. Of course, if it's ever unpleasant, all we have to do is lessen the dosage. And you might say, well, the dosage is only a half teaspoon once a day. Will it work if I lessen the dosage? Yes, it will work, but you'll detoxify. You'll take longer, of course, to detoxify if you reduce it from a half teaspoon once a day down to a quarter of a teaspoon once a day. It might take 4 months instead of 2 months on the average, but you will indeed still detoxify. And then, of course, it's not just, as so many people seem to believe, it's not just a detoxification formula. It has 150 nutrients all broken down to particle size of the nutrients is also all broken. They're all broken down to the microscopic, and that's why it's so powerful. That's why you need so little of the formula, because if the body requires it, all those nutrients will get in. It's not a hit or miss thing, the way we have it with the traditional vitamins that have a very large particle size and only a small percentage get in. Everything from the Bogdana nutritional formula is capable of making entry should the body require the nutrients. But we have to look upon detoxification as a natural phenomenon. It's not something that is a reaction to Bogdana, or not something that the Bogdana nutritional formula does to you. It's your own cleansing system within you coming back to excellent working order, and the body cleans itself out, which is the way it should be. And with me, and as other people have reported too, it even gets down to the bone level. What occurred with me is that after being on the formula for about 8-9 months or so, I had achy bones, and I noticed little brown freckles surfacing on the skin. And so that was probably metals coming out of the bones and surfacing through the skin, because the normal channels of elimination might have not been adequate for the high level of toxicity of metals that I had within my body. But detoxification is a natural phenomenon, not something created by Bogdana. And it's a cleansing, it's a purification, it's the release of substances, emotions, energy fields that are in the body, and those that are not beneficial to wellness come out of the body. And these toxic interferences that we come in contact with are absorbed in so many ways into our body, from the air we breathe, from the toxins within our food. And so today the body is under a great assault from pollution, pesticides, food processing, and even our foods today are grown by chemical fertilizers. So what can you do? It's just a very, very strong assault on the body, one that the body cannot cope with, and so that cleansing system breaks down. And our theory, too, is that it's no coincidence that in 1965 it was estimated that 1 out of 25 people would get cancer, and now, today, in this current age, this current year, it's estimated that 1 out of 3 people will get cancer, and it's estimated that by the year 2000 it'll be 1 out of 2. Well, what's going to happen? Is it going to get to the point where one day it'll be everybody gets cancer? We at Bogdana feel that so many diseases, cancer and so many others, multiple sclerosis, that one level of all of those diseases and many others has much to do with toxins being held in the body. So don't be afraid of detoxification. What you should be afraid of is keeping the poisons in your body, not getting them out of the body. We also recommend for all of you, when you take Bogdana, that during the first 2 months, which is the general average time for detoxification, that you also drink a minimum of 5 glasses of water every day to help flush out the poisons. If you are highly contaminated, the water will offset a lot of the detoxification symptoms, and if it's ever unpleasant, please remember just to cut down on the formula, just take less. And so I think I've addressed an issue that so many people asked me to talk about further, and I'd like to, at this point, welcome Mary to the show. Welcome to the show, Mary. How are you today?
I'm fine, Robert. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, we're delighted and we're honored to have you, Mary, and thank you very much for that nice quote that you gave us. I think that so much about health has to do with feeling good mentally and our emotions being good, and feeling happy and positive, and I think that if that quote is correct, and if the nature of mankind is to seek goodness, then I think also any time we go against our nature in whatever way, I think our immune system suffers, and that might be something that might not be confirmed for a long time, but that's my belief anyway. Mary, you've been on Bogdana now for several months, and you've been with us before. I know that when you first started taking the Bogdana nutritional formula, you got some good results, and I think at that time, I think more than anything, Bogdana was giving you a sense of hope, and that was remarkable, because when we're sick like that, we're so seriously ill like you were, a sense of hope can do wonders for making us well and contributing to our wellness. That's why sometimes I say that a health professional who takes away our hope is not a health professional, because that hope might be a component to getting us well. Who knows what kind of positive biochemistry can result from people feeling that sense of hope. But Mary, since that time, you've received more than hope. So why don't you at this point just tell us what your current state of health is and what's going on in your body, and we'd be happy to hear about it.
Well, right now I have a very good feeling of well-being. You know, when we're feeling good, we take it for granted, and I don't think we realize it until we don't have that health. And then by a miracle, that when it's regained, you really know, and I thank Bogdana for getting me back on track.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think it was Bernard Baruch, who, of course, he became a very wealthy man, and at one point he made a statement that he would trade all of his wealth if he could have one good day of health. And I think unfortunately it's not until we are sick that we realize how valuable health is. But what was wrong with your liver? What was the health problem that you had with your liver, Mary?
Well, in 1990, they had said or diagnosed that I had hepatitis A, and it was really strange because I had cancer in 1976, and I came back very well, and I was making sure I was taking all my vitamins, and I had changed my whole eating habits. I was taking barley green in the morning and a dozen vitamins through the day, and suddenly they're telling me at work that I have a strange coloring, and please don't come back until you check it out. So as I went to the doctor told me that it was time to have some movies and sent me home.
And your liver apparently must have been very toxic, and what do you think might have caused this liver problem to begin with? Do you have any ideas what might have contributed to it?
Well, at first they predicted that it was because I was going back and forth to Central America. I was going over there every 3 weeks, and they just assumed that I had picked up and contracted hepatitis A. But looking back and reflecting, I guess maybe it was because I was trying to take such good care of myself and taking so many vitamins, I think maybe I caused my own damage. I don't know to this day.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting, too, because one of our theories at Bogdana is that people who take mega dosages of the old-fashioned vitamins might be getting themselves in trouble, because when vitamins are not needed or wanted by the body and they get into the cell unasked for by the cell, then what occurs is that they contribute to biochemical imbalances, and they have to be detoxified just like a drug. And of course, you keyed into the Bogdana formula, and it must have been wonderful for you because you were taking a whole handful of the old-fashioned vitamins, and it was quite a labor to take them. And you got into taking just a small dosage, I think it was about a half teaspoon once a day of Bogdana. And what occurred as far as your liver problems or your health? What were the differences in the before or after? Or tell us the details of what occurred when you took Bogdana.
Well, strangely enough, I had listened to the show long enough where I kept expecting all of these symptoms, and I kept saying, gee, I'm disappointed I'm not detoxing. I did notice that there was a strong odor to my body, but I had started working in this area that was, there was a lot of smoke. I thought I had the flu and the cough, and I didn't know what was going on, and it took me a while to realize that it wasn't the flu, and everybody had the flu at the same time, so it was very easy to just say it was the flu. And then when it was over, I had all this strength and was feeling like, I'm starting to feel like I'm getting my energy back.
And, of course, it's mentioned in the catalog that we send out to everyone that flu-like symptoms are one of the hallmark characteristics of detoxification. Of course, only 1 out of 10 people might experience flu-like symptoms. Those who are highly contaminated might experience that because what occurs is coughing up a phlegm, and perhaps even when the immune system starts getting a little strong, the body might even create a slight fever because heat is the only way that the body knows how to kill viruses. And so in retrospect, you can see that you went through all of the hallmark characteristics of detoxification. We do have to remember that 9 out of 10 people detoxify through the urinary tract and the bowels, and they hardly know anything is happening. But before we get back to Mary, I just wanted to mention our 800 number is 1-800. Think of 52 weeks of good health. That's 1-800-52-HEALTH, HEALTH, or 1-800-524-3258. That's 1-800-524-3258. Operators are standing by now, as they will be all week long. And if you're new to our show, Let's Talk About Health, what you might want to do is just order a free catalog. It's very interesting. It contains the science behind the Bogdana nutritional formulas, skincare products, and Bogdana products were 16 years in research before they came on the market, and they started to they started to sell in 1986. We started to sell those products, and they've been around for a while. And our products are natural, and some of the key factors in our products is that all of those nutrients in our Bogdana nutritional formula are broken down to microscopic size, which makes them easily absorbed. So much about the formula is for easy absorption. It's in a liquid form. Microscopic size nutrients, all the nutrients are in there that you can think of that might be good for the human body. Antioxidants, amino acids, enzymes, omega-3 fish oils. And you might want to just order the catalog if you're a first-time listener. Give us a call at 1-800-52-HEALTH and order that catalog. Now's the time to do it. And for those people who just tuned in, you're listening to Let's Talk About Health with me, Robert Anderson. And this program is sponsored by the Bogdana Corporation, and we're here talking with Mary, who's telling us about her liver disease that she had. And Mary, the interesting thing too is that you really had many things going on with your body at that particular time. What were some of the symptoms that you were experiencing after you were diagnosed with having hepatitis A? I know that's a very highly contagious disease. And what were some of the symptoms that you were experiencing at that time?
I had a lot of itching. In fact, that was terrible as far as my body itching. I would become very nauseated, very tired. I mean, I had about an hour a day that I was really feeling strong, if that. And it was just an effort just to make it from one day to the next.
I know that feeling. And for those people who have never been seriously ill, it's hard for them to identify with it. But when I was seriously ill from a very extreme case of chronic fatigue, it just was a challenge to get through every day. And every day was more or less begun with the idea in my mind of, good Lord, how am I going to make it through this day? Just give me the strength. And so I can really identify with how you were feeling at that particular time. But you mentioned to me also that you had gained weight during your while you had your liver disease. You gained weight, and how much weight did you gain?
That's true. I gained about 40 pounds. I refused to go to the hospital as they wanted me to go to the hospital. And they said, as soon as you started losing weight, we're putting you in there. So I started eating crackers to keep the contents of my stomach so that I would not have to go to the hospital. I just had a feeling if they got me in the hospital, I would never come out. Okay.
I think a lot of people feel that way sometimes. But an interesting thing about the liver, of course, the liver metabolizes fat. So if you had a toxic or a dysfunctional liver, it's quite possible that the liver wasn't doing its job. I wonder if that contributed to your weight gain. But you told me another interesting fact, and that you had a liver reading. Could you tell us what your liver reading was at that particular time?
Well, I would go into the doctor's office, and I would have readings that were supposed to be reading like 5, and they were hitting over 1,000. And the doctor would take his fist and put it on the table, and he says, "Mary, I don't know how you're walking around."
So you definitely had a liver problem.
Yeah.
It's amazing that you even live, because so many people out there who are suffering from liver problems. It's very dangerous. Liver problems, whether it's hepatitis B or whatever type of liver disease it could be, they are frequently fatal. Were you at any time thinking that your liver disease might be fatal?
Yes. In fact, even the doctor tried to tell me that it didn't look like it was going to start working again, because evidently what it had done was just quit functioning totally. And that's why your body turns yellow. You can't filter them, and it just starts coming through your system. So they had made arrangements that at any time that I could pick up the phone and they would just check me into the hospital in a second's notice. And I said, no. I said, if it just means my life, I will not go. I watched my mother die in the hospital, and they didn't do anything for her, and I just was not going to put myself in that situation. Even though I didn't have a lot of strength and a lot of control, I still felt I had enough support out there that they could get me the nutrients and whatever the best I can, and I would just take my chances.
Well, after a while, you got into the Bogdana nutritional formula. It was remarkable how you got started. You heard the Bogdana show, Let's Talk About Health, and you heard me on the air. And then you began on the Bogdana nutritional formula. And that was, were you in a very bad state at that particular time, just before starting Bogdana? Was your liver ailment, was your illness as strong as ever, or as powerful as ever? Were you suffering a lot at that time? I just want to demonstrate to people the point you were at health-wise when you took the Bogdana nutritional formula.
Robert, I was about at the end. I had just lost my job after 25 years. I had gone to the doctor, and I pleaded with him, and he just says, well, you're under a lot of stress, Mary. All of these diseases, or what you're feeling is not really anything but your nerves. And my deep down feeling was that, it had been 20 years since I'd had cancer, and with all the books and everything that I had read, one of the symptoms of liver cancer is first having hepatitis or jaundice is what I really had, because they could never say that I did have hepatitis. All the tests kept coming back negative, A, B, and C.
Your intuitive feeling is that you had something much more severe even than hepatitis A.
Yes.
And okay, that's interesting. And what's going on right now? You've been on the Bogdana formula for several months. Do you still have a problem with your liver?
No, I don't at all. Not at all.
Well, tell us more about that. How do you feel? You don't have any problem whatsoever with your liver?
No, I'm gaining my strength back. I know I'm digesting my food, which was a severe problem. I know even what I was eating, I was not able to digest. What does the medical doctor say right now? I mean, here's a man who viewed you in your worst state of health, who knew that you had something severely wrong with your liver. You said before you had your liver reading should have been 5, I guess, if it was at a point of normalcy, and you were getting a liver reading of, I guess, a toxicity level reading, or you were getting a level of 1,000, which meant that something was severely wrong with your liver. What has he said to you lately as far as your health? I mean, he must be absolutely amazed that you're healthy and that you have no liver problem now. How does he view it? Well, first of all, on where I said 5, there's a lot of different things that they test you for in that, but everything that was shown on the test for my liver was 100 times what it should be, and some of it even more than that. He still just wants to say that it was just my nerves, and I guess you've just gotten over it.
Yeah, so he's doubting his original diagnosis, which is something that many doctors seem to do when people are on Bogdana for a while. But what I'd like to do is just say that you went through a profound detoxification. So many poisons came out of you, and the liver is certainly part of the body, and that had to go through detoxification also when you were on Bogdana. And we have to remember, too, that, Mary, you and I have a lot of high praises and accolades for the nutritional formula and many of the other Bogdana products as well. But we do have to remember that as amazing as the Bogdana nutritional formula is, and even though it is an excellent formula, we have to remember that the miracle lies in God's creation, the human body. The human body has a remarkable ability. I don't think there's anything more remarkable than the human body's ability to heal itself. But where the Bogdana comes in is the Bogdana nutritional formula gives the body the necessary raw materials so that the body can heal itself. If any of you out there would like to order the Bogdana nutritional formula, we have 3 sizes. We have a $29 1-month supply, $55 2-month supply, and a $79 3-month supply. And if you'd like to order a catalog, we'll certainly send it to you for free. It's a very interesting catalog that explains the science behind the Bogdana nutritional formulas, skincare products, and so many other of our fine products. So give us a call at 1-800-52-HEALTH. Think of 52 weeks of good health, HEALTH, or 1-800-524-3258. That's 1-800-524-3258. Operators are standing by now, as they will be all week long. And Mary, did you follow the guidelines in the brochure when you started taking Bogdana? Did you drink the water every day for the first 2 months?
Yes, I certainly did.
Well, yeah, then that must have helped a lot with detoxification. That helped you go through cleansing. And you see what the water will do. We do suggest the water because it will offset so many of the symptoms of detoxification. And we always tell everybody, too, that if it becomes unpleasant with detoxification, is if you're highly contaminated with toxins, environmental toxins, and you're detoxifying it all unpleasantly, all one has to do is to lessen the dosage.
Well, Robert, I think if you have faith, there is nothing insurmountable for you. And also, I feel such a great inner peace since I've been taken through Bogdana, and I know I was just directed to you through the Lord, and I prayed, and I just came to you, and that's all there is to it.
Well, thank you, Mary. That was nicely said. We really appreciate that. And for all of you out there in the listening audience, this has been Robert Anderson and Mary, wishing all of you good health and hoping that you can live each day as though it were your first day, your last day, and your only day.
To obtain further information or to order the Bogdana products, call 1-800-52-HEALTH. That's 1-800-524-3258.